The greatest need in terms of toys, typically it's the older girls, the 7 and up. Overall, the older population of the kids are typically the ones that we run out of the most, but usually the older girls are the one that we see the shortage in the fastest. So.
I think the staff sergeant's being respectful. They need financial investment. They need donations. Anyone that, if you're not going to go shopping this year, if you could go to Toys for Tots and make a donation, they'll go out and buy the toys. Obviously, the girls are always a big issue. Older kids are an issue. You can contact Toys for Tots as well. I'm going to talk about it a lot here at the press conferences, but we're asking anyone to be helpful. These guys and men and women are amazing people. They generally don't ask for anything. They just give. They give their life to our country, and they support us, and that's what they do. And they're not good at asking, but I'm asking for them, on behalf of them, to everyone to please help this organization. This is a different year. Usually, every year at the end of the season, Toys for Tots, the news stations thank you. You run kind of like a story because they're low on toys. It's December 2nd. They'll go low on toys, and they're going to be low on toys the entire time because of the year that we're in. So we're going to ask you to continue to promote this. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Osgood. I have the honor of serving as Mayor Walsh's Chief of Streets and the pleasure of welcoming you to our Winter Preparedness press conference. Before we begin, I just want to let folks know that we are recording this event. We will be posting it on boston.gov with translations available there. Where we're standing is the heart of the city's snow operations. It's from here that we deploy our snow plows and we really coordinate all the salting of our streets. Behind me is actually one of our 9 salt piles throughout the city of Boston, the largest one we have. It's in the building behind all of you that we equip roughly 150 vehicles in the city's fleet with plow blades and with salt spreaders, and where we maintain those vehicles over the course of the winter, and where we deploy hundreds of city staff and contracted staff to be able to plow roads, salt streets, and inspect our sidewalks both during and after snowstorms. And while this site is absolutely key to our snow operations, it's simply one part of Mayor Walsh's administration-wide winter preparedness effort, an effort which includes coordination of all the snow operations by our Superintendent of Street Operations, Mike Brohl, making sure that all of our residents have safe shelter, coordinated by our Chief of Housing, Sheila Dillon, making sure that all of our residents are well supported, coordinated by our Chief of Civic Engagement, Jerome Smith, making sure there's great coordination across our emergency preparedness organizations by our Chief of Emergency Preparedness, Shu Benford. And of course, the person who leads us in all of that is our mayor, the person I'd like to welcome to the mic, Martin J. Walsh.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you very much, Chris. And I want to thank everyone for being here today. I want to particularly thank all the team here at Public Works and Transportation. I know this year is very different. In years past, we'd have a lot of people up here at the podium, but I just want to say how grateful I am for the work that each of you have done during this difficult time during COVID-19. I know that it's a hard time for a lot of us. It's a hard time for our families. It's a hard time for our city. But throughout this entire pandemic, our Public Works Department and our Transportation Department haven't stopped one day. And I want to give a special shout out to all the folks that are out there every single day doing the work. We talk a lot about essential personnel, and we've talked a lot about grocery store workers and nurses and doctors and police and fire EMS. Our Public Works team here in the city of Boston has not stopped either throughout this pandemic. People going to work every day doing important work of the city on behalf of the residents. So I truly want to acknowledge all of you. I want to thank Chris Osgood, and we're going to hear from, as Chris mentioned, Sheila Dillon's going to be here talking in a few minutes, and we're going to have some other speakers, Jerome Smith, and we also have available Public Works Superintendent Mike Brohl, Transportation Commissioner Greg Rooney, Emergency Management Director Shemaine Benford. I want to thank Shu and his team, Civic Engagement Chief Jerome Smith. I want to thank them all for their work as well here in the city. I want to wish a special happy birthday today is for President-elect Joe Biden. So happy birthday, Mr. President-elect. We're excited about you starting. I'm excited about you starting. I want to thank the media, who always play a big role in the talk about conversation about winter preparedness, and that's what we're here to talk about today. The theme of 2020 is facing challenges by working together, and that's what we do in this yard every single year when it comes to the winter and when it comes to the storms, when it comes to making sure that the residents of Boston can get to and from work, making sure that they get dug out from their homes. This piece of winter preparedness is about being prepared. It's about caring for our most vulnerable folks here in the city. It's about helping neighbors, working together, and making sure that we continue to check on each other when storms come. It's about all of us doing our job and doing our part. I've stood here at this podium now. This is my, I believe, my 8th time talking about winter preparedness. And sometimes when I talk, it's usually a nice day like this. And within a matter of weeks and months, we either have 106.4 inches of snow, or we have very little snow like we did last year. But we still are making sure that the city of Boston is prepared for this. 2020 is certainly not an average year by any stretch of the imagination. But we have made it a priority in the city to maintain the service level that the residents of Boston deserve and expect. And as a matter of fact, we're working to improve those delivery services every single day. Getting snow and ice off the street is how we keep our city running. In this year's budget, we allocated $20 million for winter preparedness. We had major new investments in recent years to upgrade or replace our fleet of snow vehicles for the folks that do this work every day. We've added 24 pieces of new equipment here in this yard for cleaning snow and snow removal. We have 150 pieces in total for ice equipment and snow equipment in the city. We also have the ability to put over 600 pieces of equipment out on the streets depending on what the weather forecast is coming and what the reality of the situation is. On hand, we have 45,000 tons of salt. Some of it's here and some of it's spread throughout the city of Boston. On COVID precautions, our Public Works has in place new operation procedures to ensure that everyone remains safe and workers can comply with social distancing guidelines. It's not just about making sure that we clear the streets, but it's also about making sure that we keep our workers safe here that work here in this yard and throughout the city of Boston. That includes allowing both employees and contractors to start their shifts in the field rather than gathering in one spot. Believe it or not, we have already had a record-setting snow this year. October 30th, Halloween storm, was the biggest October storm on record. We had 4+ inches of snow. Superintendent Brohl reported that it was a good test of our ability to meet the unexpected challenges of the COVID safety operation. So we kind of got a chance to, we didn't see it in February when the COVID started here in Boston, but we certainly saw it in 2 weeks ago here in the city. We're being tested and we're expecting to see what the rest of 2020 and 2021 brings us, but we, as I said, we are prepared. We also need residents, businesses, and property owners to do their part. I know that there's no snow out the window, but we want you to understand that when snow does come, the sidewalk in front of your property is your responsibility to shovel and de-ice. We're asking you to do that. That's probably the number one call that we get oftentimes when snow happens. People calling on businesses or homeowners, quite honestly, saying the sidewalks aren't shoveled. We're asking everyone who is able to shovel out the fire hydrants in front of their homes or on the streets. We're asking you to make sure the storm drains in your streets are shoveled out as well, so that when the snow begins to melt and the ice begins to melt, the water has someplace to go so it just doesn't cause more danger. We're asking people to check out and make sure you stay in contact with neighbors that might be elderly or neighbors that might be disabled. We're asking you, if you can, help shovel out a path in front of their house. Don't let them do it. Help them by shoveling in front of their house. We're also asking people to check on those who may be housebound, family members or residents that may be housebound, to make sure to see if they need anything, see if they need something at the store, if they need milk, bread, if they need the supplies that they need to be living on. So if you could help, that'd be incredible. We need everyone to continue to work together. We've seen that this entire time here in the city during the COVID crisis, neighbor helping neighbor, and just helping everyone get through this time. For our seniors that are watching and that we come in contact with, we have resources to help you as well. I know this has been a difficult year because of COVID and a lot of concerns about financial concerns. We have fuel assistance, we have home repairs. We can also help you access food and medication delivery if you need that. So we need you to reach out to the City of Boston. We are currently running a benefit awareness campaign to make sure that people understand that they're available for all of them. I encourage any senior, if you have questions about anything I just said or concerns about how you're going to get through the winter, we're asking you to call 311. Our Age Strong Commission is ready to help you with any concerns you might have. We have an extensive system for getting information out to residents both before and during emergencies. We are finalizing this year's winter weather guide that we'll distribute across the City of Boston. You should be receiving it in mail within the next 2 weeks. We also have it translated in 10 different languages. You can also get any current information on emergency updates at boston.gov/snow, boston.gov/snow. And I also want to thank the media, because anytime that we have a winter weather advisory, the media has been very helpful getting information out to the residents of our city. We're going to be updating sites as storms come to let people know what the latest in storm activity is. I also encourage people, if you haven't, sign up for the Alert Boston system. You can get texts, emails, and phone calls. We offer alerts in several different languages, so we're asking people, if you want to do that, you go to boston.gov/alertboston to sign up, or you can text the word Alert Boston, all one word, to 888-777. That's Alert Boston, one word, to 888-777. The same system that we're using for COVID-19 is alerts. That's what we're doing as well. You text the word Boss COVID to 888-777, and it'll give you information almost on a daily basis about what's happening in the City of Boston when it comes to COVID, and also on winter information. You can also call 311. Anyone that wants to access the City of Boston, you can call 311 anytime. We put on extra call takers during the snowstorms. Our Chief of Civic Engagement, Jerome Smith, will talk a little more about that. People experiencing homelessness, winter gives them an extra danger. Every year we work hard on our shelters and street outreach teams to make sure that our shelters are available for anyone in need. During extreme weather emergencies like snow or extreme cold, we do extensive coordination outreach. It's an important thing for the public to know. If you see someone homeless, you see someone vulnerable out on the streets who's cold, looks disoriented, undressed, or in distress, call 911. Anyone that you think is an emergency, call 911 so we can get immediate help to that person or persons that are out there that are struggling. Our first responders are trained and equipped to provide the help they need, that people need, whether it's mental health services or whatever it might be. We want to be able to make sure we keep people safe. So I appreciate the support there. Shelters are a special concern, obviously, during COVID-19. In the spring, we secured spaces to allow our shelter providers for adequate social distancing. We dedicated half of the field hospital at the convention center down the street here for homeless individuals who needed to be isolated. Overall impact of COVID on our homeless population has not been nearly as bad as it was initially feared that it could be. but we continue to work every single day to protect our most vulnerable residents here in the city. In the winter, we see more people taking advantage of the shelter system. So we're continuing to work on making sure that our shelters do not compromise COVID safety. Sheila Dillon, our Chief of Housing, will talk a little more about that in a minute. We've also made significant improvements and advances in preventing and reducing homelessness in Boston. Since May, we've placed over 200 homeless individuals into permanent housing. We issued permanent rental vouchers for nearly 1,000 families of Boston Public School students who were at risk of homelessness. We provided 1,126 rental relief vouchers to households. We created over 800 units of income-restricted affordable housing in the city. We passed an eviction notification ordinance to make sure people know their rights and can access resources before they're facing eviction proceedings. I'm grateful to many people who worked on all of this work. This all was done between February and today. During the pandemic, we not only worked to prevent homelessness, we accelerate our work to increase housing security for many of our residents, and we need to continue to do that. The last thing I just want to say is to everyone, I want everyone to have a safe and happy Thanksgiving with your households. I'm asking you to have no one other than your immediate household together. This Thanksgiving is going to be very different, obviously. It's important, and I've asked the media to continue to put this message out. With the cases going up, the last thing we need to see is continue to see these cases coming from indoor gatherings. It's important to get tested. Our free mobile testing sites remain in Central Square in East Boston, in Jubilee Christian Church in Mattapan through next Saturday, November 28th. But it's also important to remember getting tested doesn't protect you from the infection. Any gatherings are high risks. So you can get tested. It would be important for you to get tested if you can before Thanksgiving to try and make sure that you keep your family safe. We need people to do things very differently this year. I want to say we need to focus on being thankful in many ways, and I certainly am. Let's be thankful for our older relatives and keep them safe. Let's be thankful for those that there's a vaccine coming on the horizon and a promise that a new administration will tackle this COVID-19 in a whole with a national plan, unlike the way it's being handled today. I want to be thankful for our holiday traditions like the tree arrival on Boston Common this morning from our friends from Nova Scotia, who never forgot Boston, who helped them in their time of need in 1917. Nova Scotia has also provided dozens of trees for our neighborhood locations, so I want to thank them for their help there. We can't do traditional tree lightings this year with the crowds, but we'll see. We will be lighting these trees, and many of the folks that are here that you don't see on camera right now are putting those trees up, and I want to thank you for the work that you do every day. Before I turn over to Sheila Dillon, I just want to say one last thing. I'm grateful for all the city employees. I'm grateful for your work. I'm grateful for your commitment to our city. I'm grateful for what you do every single day, day in and day out. You make my job easy. You deliver services on behalf of the people of Boston. I know many of the people aren't here. So the folks that are here, I want you to make sure you go out and tell everyone you see today how grateful the mayor of the city of Boston is for the incredible work you do. I truly appreciate it. I know when it's cold out, I know you're out in the streets. I know when it's hot out, I know you're out in the streets. I know you're fixing and building and cleaning and doing everything that's really important. You are the most important part of our city. All of us up here, I appreciate all the chiefs, and they're great people. They do great work. But the folks that go out and get their hands dirty every day and do that work, without you, we don't have the city of Boston that we enjoy. So thank you. On behalf of all the residents of the city, I want to thank you for your incredible work. Now I'm going to turn over to Sheila Dillon, who's going to talk, and then Sheila will bring up Chief Smith.
Good morning. Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor stated, we've been working hard, putting a plan in place so our most vulnerable, our homeless individuals and families are safe. During the COVID-19 pandemic in the city of Boston, we did work very hard to bring on additional sites so that our shelters remained de-densified and not crowded, and that work continues. Right now, we have about capacity for about 1,200 individuals throughout the city of Boston. As we head into winter, we've been working very closely with the Public Health Commission, St. Francis House, the Boston Rescue Mission, Pine Street, Bridge Over Troubled Waters, and the New England Center for Homeless Vets to bring on additional beds. With their extra capacity, we'll have an additional 200 beds. And this is really important. There are going to be beds for women, men, and more intently this year for young adults that are experiencing homelessness. As the mayor mentioned, we need also for the Commonwealth, our partner, the Commonwealth, to bring on additional beds throughout the surrounding area, not just in Boston, but Greater Boston, Worcester, the South Shore, the North Shore, even out west. And this is really important because a lot of times homeless individuals from other parts of the state come and they look for Boston for services. And in years past, we've been able to provide, and we will continue to provide, but it's harder because we need to keep our shelters at low capacity. So I really want to thank the state. They're bringing on the additional beds, and that will help us a great deal. So I also want to say that for our unsheltered homeless, and in bad weather every day, but especially in bad weather, Pine Street will bring on additional vans. They'll be going around the city to make sure that homeless individuals that don't want to come into shelter are safe, and really encourage them to come in. It's more important than ever this year because a lot of our homeless are fearful of coming into crowded conditions. And while we've done a good job to de-densify the shelters, there's still a lot of fear. So I can't stress enough what the mayor said. There will be people on the street that do not want to come in. So if the public sees anyone that looks vulnerable, they should call 311. Always err on the side of caution. And we have wonderful trained first responders that will respond quickly and effectively. I also just want to mention that in addition to making sure that our homeless are safe, we will be working very closely with Age Strong and our 311 response teams to make sure if senior homeowners call with emergency repairs because of bad weather, we will respond within 24 hours, make sure that they've got the heat and the services that they need. So for seniors that are watching, if you find yourself and it's bad weather and you have ice blocks or your heating system has gone down or you just have general questions about your home, please call 311 and you will get a quick response and the help that you need. And then finally, we've been promoting since this summer, but I need to keep promoting that Mayor Walsh has a wonderful program that will help seniors replace their heating systems. This is an $8,000 grant, and not only do you get close to a free heating system, but you also get help to make sure it's installed properly. It's high efficiency, they're very high quality. And so if you've got an old heating system and you're worried about it, please call 311 or 635-HOME, and we will respond immediately and try to get you a heating system before the cold weather arrives. So there's a lot of systems in place, a lot of safeguards in place, but you are our eyes and ears, and please reach out to us if you see anything that is troubling or anyone that is vulnerable, and we will do our best to respond very, very quickly. With that, I'm going to hand this over to Jerome Smith, Chief of Civic Engagement. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Chief Dillon and Mayor Walsh. My name is Jerome Smith. I am the Chief of Civic Engagement and the Director of Neighborhood Services for the City of Boston. And as you heard from my colleagues, there are many city services that we provide, and 311 and the neighborhood liaisons are here to actually help the residents get those delivery of services as efficiently as possible. So you heard a number of times from my colleagues about calling 311. It is basically the nerve center for the City of Boston. We've made, under the mayor's leadership, we made significant enhancements in the 311 system, working with the Department of Information Technology and our partners in the Office of Emergency Management. We have now provided more lines to be able to be covered, the City of Boston, and they're mobile with this new work from home setup that we have. We actually have more call takers that are actually on the phones that will be able to answer your calls and direct city services to you. So we encourage residents to report non-emergency issues to 311. They are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The ways that you can contact 311 is you can just dial 311 on any mobile device or a rotary phone if you have one. You can visit the city's website at boston.gov/311, or you can download the Boston 311 app. on your phone. So those are some of the basic ways in which you can request city services. You can also tweet at Boston 311 to request city services. So we hope that residents will avail themselves to this service that has been enhanced over the past couple months. Every neighborhood in the city of Boston has a neighborhood liaison, and each of the liaisons are here to help you and assist you and guide you through city processes, whether it's filling out applications for some of the needs that we have across the city, some of the funds that we have to help small businesses and residents as we get through the pandemic, but also into the snow season.